Hi folks, you're with Tacitus today, your pushback channel, and thank you for joining this radio live stream. In this essay, I'd like to talk about the issue of online search results weighted or stacked or rigged, or call it what you like, in favor of a particular point of view. Now, there's a bit of talk about that at the moment, particularly with the midterm elections in the United States coming up, where there are those who are alleging that a search result on, say, a particular electoral contest, whether it be by state or by candidate, is unusually favouring the globalist, the most pro-globalist candidate, and any candidate that's not pro-globalist or not approved by the globalists is not appearing in the results at all, or it may appear, but maybe on the second or third page that hardly anybody looks at anyway. So it's a pretty safe bet if you've got the top 10 or so search items coming up with the weighting or the rigging or the stacking that you want, the marked cards as it were, then that's pretty much 100% media censorship in effect. Only the most diligent and persevering would look beyond that. So you're looking at a very small proportion of the population would look outside of the results that are delivered at the top of the page. Now, is this so? Of course. Now, I've done my own, and you can do it too. Just go into use a search engine, and I'm using. I won't mention their name, but I'm using a very prominent, very large search engine to do this. And they're certainly delivering, if I look at the midterm elections, they're certainly delivering the most positive news on the pro-globalist candidate and the most negative news on the non-globalist candidate. So without question, it's being weighted and slanted in favor of the globalist candidates, which just happen to be, the Democrats are the party of the globalists right now. And the not that a Republican, like if you look at Mitch McConnell and guys like that, they're clearly pro-globalist, but they're maybe a little bit lukewarm on some of the issues that the globalists are more excited about. But it doesn't mean they'll oppose the globalist agenda. They may not just support it with the same vigor that the Democrats would. And if you look at just look in the US at the midterms, the candidates that Republican candidates that aren't sufficiently pro-globalist or may even be, not that they'd be anti-globalist necessarily, but they would be politicians, whether it be to the House or the Senate, that believe they are elected by the people to represent the American people and to represent America. And even that's not allowed these days. The globalists can't have that. So, given that they own the party machine and they own guys like McConnell, then they can make sure that those that may be troublesome to the globalist project are denied financial resources to do advertising and things like that, denied financial resources, so that it's less likely they'll get up. You don't want to have a huge Republican wave of new candidates coming in, most or all of whom are going to be pro-America and pro the people that voted them in, and have these outrageously evil Hitler-like views that they actually represent the people who voted for them, actually represent Americans. What a thought! The globalists will sort of shrink back in horror at that thought. But coming back to the stacking of the results, is it actually happening? Well, it's quite surreptitious and clandestine, and it's happening sort of insidiously in the sense it's happening without you knowing. So there's no declaration it's happening. I wouldn't mind if well, I wouldn't like it, but I would be much happier if the search engine said, look, we're stacking the results in favor of this or that. We're going to make sure you don't see information we don't want you to see. But of course, they're not going to do that, because then it delegitimizes the information they're showing you. And they want the information to show you to appear to be 100% legitimate, which it isn't, of course, if it's stacked, but they want it to appear that way. So, for example, there's a particular rape trial that's going on at the moment. Now, if I do a search on that, the 9 of the top 10 items are from activist newspapers that very much take the view that rapists are everywhere and they're all Hitler and they're all Nazis, they're all fascists, all straight white males are evil oppressors, and all women are terrible victims. And the main perpetrators of rape in Western countries is it the the indigenous? Is it the black people? Is it the indigenous? Is it the Middle Easterners? Is it the the Pakistanis? Is it the cultures that believe women are second-class citizens? And no, you fucking damn Nazi fascist racist. It's middle-class straight white men. They're the evil ones. They're all Hitler. Now that just neatly coincides with what the globalists are targeting as the main opposition to the globalist project. The straight white middle-class male are the ones that are going to lose the most and have the least sympathy for the globalist project, because the globalist project is to take money away from white people and share it around with the black and the brown people, the black and brown peasants, in order to create more consumers and lower wages, that sort of thing. So the globalist project needs to crush straight white males. So part of the all white men are rapists, they're all racist, they're all Hitler, they're all Nazis, they're all fascists, they're all bigots, and that's part of the wider propaganda crush white people process that the globalists are using. So these are very important sort of propaganda things to portray straight white men as always being all evil, racist, rapists, Hitlers and all that sort of thing. That's just part of the propaganda message. So when I do the search on this thing, wouldn't you know it, all the stories of the most radical newspapers and magazines and hysterical online voices that say that all straight white males are indeed fascist Nazi Hitlers, rapists, raping women left, right, and centre. Not the non-white. The non-white people don't do it. Only the white guys do it. So wow, isn't that incredible? And all those stories come to the top. There was only out of the top 10, which depending on how big your text is going to really take up the whole page. Only one of the top 10 was from a journal that took even what you'd call a somewhat neutral view, and was sort of advocating, well, the evidence really is what we should rely on. Whereas the other 9, well, look, even if he didn't do it, he's ideologically guilty. Men have been oppressing women for centuries, and clearly, the guy's straight, he's white, he's middle class, he's Hitler, and that was the so very ideological. But if you were, say, a student or anyone for that matter, just wanting to find out more about this, and you'd come away with a very slanted view of just this one thing, which again just happens to fall neatly in line with the globalist project of crushing straight white males. Because if it was going to be factual, they'd say, well, in reality in Australia, 75% of rape claims are from 3% of the population, and none of whom are white. So they would start, but no, none of that's there. There's all they use various cut and stack and various sort of quite outrageous comparisons, with all sorts of dodgy statistics from gender studies, lesbian activists, to say, well, this proves it's all straight white males. I mean, we've got to convict this guy, whether he did it or not, just to show all those damn straight white fascist Nazis that they're, we're coming after them and we're going to, and this sort of thing. So outrageous propaganda, but that comes to the top of the page. So then having a look at another, if I look at, put the question in about the great scientific inventors of history, then you'd be forgiven for thinking that there was hardly any white guys at all invented anything. Does Edison or Louis Pasteur or any of the Whittle inventing the jet engine, and or do any of these people appear in the no. You'd be forgiven for thinking that every invention's been invented by black lesbians, and even where they're sort of grudgingly crediting a white straight white male with having invented something, they'll make up some very creative story about really, well, all his entire research team was black lesbians. So really, he's only taking the credit for the genius work of the black lesbians and so on. So again, so that's heavily stacked. If you really go into any area of mathematics or any field of endeavor now, any field of endeavor, it doesn't matter what it is. The one that brings sort of glory and prestige, or is perceived to, you'll find that white people, even though they've responsible for 99% of the inventions and achievements, they're having to share the page now as a minority. Just looking at mathematics here, there's every mathematician in history there that wasn't white. And again, white people at the bottom of the page or on the following page, and it just goes on and on and on. It doesn't matter. Or if you start looking now at great icons of white icons of history, there's now numerous stories in every single one of them about how bad these people were. Well, really, if they're still perceived as good, it's only because they were gay, or they had a black grandfather or something. But if they're completely white and straight and all this thing, then they're attacked now as being evil and Hitler and wicked and bad and nothing to did you know that the great grandfather of this person actually owned a slave? Hitler! And on it goes, and so there's a real concerted effort to destroy every white historical character of history, and that those stories come to the top. Do the achievements of these white people, white males in particular, come to the top? No. And if you look at the articles, the Wikipedia, that sort of thing, if you look at the online articles, clearly the activist groups that are attacking white people, white history, white achievements, white culture are allowed to rewrite the Wikipedia pages unimpeded, unopposed, and put the most terrible untruths in there. So you put in something like colonialism and as a search term, and every imagined evil possible, most of it invented, or presented in a very narrow sort of fashion, is there. Whereas the achievements of colonialism, of which there are a great many, and quite a lot of it very benign, that's just written out of the whole narrative that's being produced. So there's no doubt in my mind, just picking 10 random sort of subjects, that, I mean, you put in like murder and things like that, even though 10% of the population in this particular country, 10% of the population commit 55% of the murders. But gee, you wouldn't know it from looking at you'd think that all straight white males did nothing but run around murdering and raping people. That's how it's sort of presented, which is beyond absurd, but that's what they're doing. So clearly it's being stacked and weighted to be portray a very negative view of straight white Western males and a very positive view of pretty much everyone else, really. Same with sort of mass migration. Mass migration is presented as just this universal good, and anyone that even questions it, let alone opposes it, is Hitler. And so on it goes. I mean, just watching a short video that was put up there about mass migration, and there are those who oppose mass migration. Quick, cut to a shot of Hitler, and then Nuremberg rally, Nazi flag. You think they're trying to weave a narrative here or what? So the search results are just putting outrageous, ridiculous, hysterical, one-sided propaganda at the top of the page. There's not even an attempt to be balanced. Now, if you're researching a subject in which the globalists have no interest or no investment, then you probably will get something fairly balanced, and where you get opposing views and, well considered, well argued, well reasoned opinions and that sort of thing. But if it's something that the globalists are invested in, man, you've got no chance. It's and they very much invested in the destruction and eradication, undermining of Western society, white Western confidence, and that sort of thing. So all that you see that's related to that in any way is it comes up in the search results with this very stacked or rigged sense. So there's no question that algorithmically the major search engines are doing that. I don't know why. Why would they even want to do it? Are they in turn invested in this? Are they being leaned on? Are they being threatened with some sort of legislation? Have just globalist fanatics been installed in all the senior management? It's hard to say. I suppose it's a combination of all of the above, but that it's being that the search results are being algorithmically tampered with is absolutely beyond dispute. You've been Tacitus today, your pushback channel. Thank you for listening.